What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to AJ TV. It is I, AJ, and oh wait, I fucked that up. What is up, and welcome back to AJ TV. It's me, AJ, and I am back again with yet another video. And today, I have another story time for y'all. Another part of this little DL Storytime series. So I said y'all like those, so I said, hey, why not make it like a little series of my little, experiences here and there. So I did make a playlist. You can go check that out. It has all my current, well, I say all my current, like it's not only like two there, but it has my current story times that I do have up in that playlist, so you can go check those out. And yeah, but before we get into this story time, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on those notifications so you will notify any and every time that I upload a new video. Also, like I always say, follow me on all my socials. Hey, why not? Why not do it? And also, guys, I want to give a big thank you because yesterday we hit 1,000 subscribers. So I want to thank you all so much for 1,000 subscribers. It may be small to some, but it's big to me. And hey, we just gonna keep going up from here. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this story time, shall we? Okay, so for this one, we're gonna call him Alex. So me and Alex, of course, obviously we went to school together. And I met Alex in class. We had several classes together. Also, like I said, I'm not gonna give no timelines. I'm not gonna give any specifics or anything, so y'all can't put nothing together. But I will try to make it detailed enough that y'all can at least know where I'm going with the story, right? But anyway, so yeah, I met Alex when I was in school still. We had several classes together, and Alex was more of the quiet type, I would say. Well, I thought he was more of the quiet type when I first, seen him and laid my eyes on him. Like I said, I didn't really know Alex. This is my first time seeing him. And I was like, Alex is pretty, he's pretty nice to look at, right? So, every day I would see Alex in class, and I would be like, wow, he is really like something. And like, at the time, I really wasn't like, crushing on anybody or anything like that. But like, I just ended up developing this huge, like, and my thinking at the time, this whole one-sided crush on Alex, right? So I was like, oh my God, I gotta find his like social media or whatever. So at the time, I didn't know what his name was. So like, me being me, obviously, wait till the teacher calls roll and figure out what his name is. I don't know why that never occurred to me. So I did. So one day I was listening, I was determined to figure out what his name was. And then boom, she called his name. So now I'm like, okay, I got his name. So I get home, I start doing my research, girl, because you know how I get, you know what I'm saying? When I'm trying to find somebody, I will find them like that. So I noticed that like his socials are not his name. So I'm like, damn, how am I gonna find him if his social not his name? So I start trying to find his mama, his daddy, somebody. I'm looking for any and everything to try to figure out what this boy's social media is. So I figure out his last name, so I type in his last name, and boom, I think I found like his mom or something. So I was like, okay, I got it. And in one of the posts, she tags him in one of the posts. So I was like, oh yeah, I got him. I have him. And yeah, that's how I found his social. So I sent him a friend request. I found his Instagram. I followed him on Instagram. And lo and behold, I did get a follow back. You know what I'm saying? Was I expecting a follow back? No. Because as I started to like watch him, not like in a weird way, but like as I started to like, what's the word, observe, like, how he would, the people he would hang around and like, stuff like that, I was like, oh, maybe I'm making a mistake here. But at the end of the day, I wanted Alex real bad, and I was determined to get that. So that's what I did. So like I said, I I found his social media. I followed him. He followed me back, and then I had messaged him that same night that he followed me because, baby, I don't waste no time. Okay, I don't waste any time at all. So I messaged him, and I was like, I was like, yo. Now usually I would, just hit them with the long paragraph saying how I think they found whatever, and then the rest is history. But I was a little skeptical with Alex because I didn't know at all how he was gonna respond. So I just simply hit him with the yo, and I took it from there. Of course, he responded back. Like, honestly, he didn't respond back not too long after. I responded like maybe like 30 minutes after I had sent him the initial message. And honestly, I didn't really know what to say after yo, because like I'm texting you at like 2 o'clock in the morning, yo, you're responding, and what I'm saying, I don't really know where to go from here. So I was just like, I had followed you because I had seen you in class or whatever. And yeah, I was like, they like, okay, yeah, type shit. So I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what? The fact that he responded this day and night that fast, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should, I should throw my net out there and try. So I did. So I was like, I followed you. You was good looking or whatever. You was cute, and he was like, appreciate it. And niggas love that ugly ass laughing emoji. And that's exactly what he said. He was like, appreciate it. And I was like, And yeah, I was like, and he was like, and I was like, I just, I had to do me. I had to just start, put my little flirt coat on. You know what I'm saying? I had to run my game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I had to do what I had to do.
Easy, motherfucking easy, fuck. Easy as a motherfucker. I'm looking at myself in the camera now, bitch.
In order to get what I wanted. And after a lot of flirting, it didn't take much for real. Eventually, I got his Snapchat, and you already know what happens on Snapchat, right? So we got on Snapchat, and we started snapping back and forth, and we started, sending snaps of different things and all this type of stuff, and it was just like, it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. Yeah, it was wow. That was a time. That was really a time. But anyways, it was the past time. But yeah, we're over that now. But anyways, so after that, he was like, you want to FaceTime or whatever. So I was like, sure, why not? We obviously ain't doing nothing else now. So we FaceTimed, and like we was just talking and everything, get to know each other, going through the whole, motion or whatever, right? So we're just talking, getting to know each other, and then, like, I don't know, the conversation it went from talking to, we were talking all right. We're using our mouths. Anyways, but besides that, we let's just say that some things were put in the camera, and the rest was history that night. And it was a good night's rest. Anyways, that's besides the point. So the next day, I see him at school, and you already know how, y'all know how DOs are. You know what I'm saying? You could be with them the night before, and then the next day, they don't even know you exist. So that's exactly what happened. So I was like, you know what? I already know how this works, so I ain't even gonna, trip too hard on it though, right? So the whole day went by. I seen him. He honestly did not even look my way for real. Like, every night before all that night, like we would pass a glance every now and then. But like this day, he was not like he wasn't taking no chances. He was not looking my way at all. It's as if I was not even there, right? So, yeah, after I got home, he ended up texting me, and I was like, oh, so now you want to text me? And he was like, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. And I was like, oh, so this clearly ain't your first rodeo. And see, I don't think they understand. Like, they'll tell you, like, they don't usually do things like this, but they'll say, like, slick stuff, and it would be like, it would sort of, like, tell you that this is not their first rodeo. So when he said that, I immediately figured that, you know, this ain't his first time. Because what you mean? You already know how it is. You know what I'm saying? I got your tea, sir.
Clock that tea. Clock it. Clock that tea. Clock it. Clock that tea.
I got your tea. Anyway, so after I got back home, he was like, you know, you want to call tonight? You want to FaceTime, whatever? And I was like, y'all gonna have to forgive the dog outside. I don't know what to do about that. But anyways, so yeah, he was like, you know, you want to FaceTime tonight? And I was like, yeah. I don't know. I was trying to play hard to get. Like, I didn't want to FaceTime, knowing good and well that I wanted to FaceTime him. But yeah. So that night we FaceTimed, and you know, the same thing happened once again. It was a beautiful night. Some things were put in the camera once again, and it was a time. We definitely had a time that night. Anyway, so after that, again, we had school the next day. So again, another cycle of him acting like I don't exist, and me just like, because mind you, even though like at my school we had different like classes every day, me and him still had a class together every day. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely kind of odd. It's very odd. It's something that I'm surprised that I put up with for that long. Because like, what you mean that we just gonna be on the phone every night freaking it, and then the next day you just act like I'm not even existent? But I mean, hey, that's the price you pay when you deal with those type of men, and that was the price I was definitely willing to pay. I will say though, like, as of course I got to know him a little more, we started getting like closer and stuff. Obviously, he started to, you know, trust me more. So he started telling me things, and I would start telling him things. And honestly, I thought we did become like a little situationship for like a little while, for like the little time that we were like, you know, we were having relations like that. We did end up developing a little situationship, and I highly do not recommend ever getting into anything like that with a DL man, because you're gonna feel like it's not okay, it's not good. Don't do it. But anyway, so as time went on, it was just like this certain cycle of us like calling every night and doing it. And honestly, that got a little tiring. I got tired of doing stuff on FaceTime, so I was like, you know, hey, you wanna like come over or anything, or like I come over and see you or whatever? And he was like, you know, like my folks of course don't know. And I was like, I mean, obviously we figured that by now. But he was like, no, my folks don't know about me or whatever. And I was like, oh well, I mean, obviously. But he was like, I can sneak you in. I was like, sneak? Now this was after what's his name? This was after Christian, the last video. So I was like, sneak. But obviously I wasn't gonna tell him that. But I was like, sneak? What you mean sneak? Like sneak me in your house? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, why not? So one night, he was like, we had, you know, picked the night that I was gonna come over, and he was like, okay, you gonna have to come through the backyard, and I have to open the back door, and you have to walk real quietly, because I had to walk past like my mom's room or something like that. So I was like, okay, you know, mission impossible, I guess. So that's exactly what we did. So he does not stay too far from me. I'm gonna say that now. He did not stay too far from me at the time. So it was a simple walk. Now that walk at night was a little scary, I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man, but I ain't that much of a man to be walking these streets at night, right? But anyways, that's besides the point. I'm getting off topic. So I had went to his back gate, and I had opened the gate because he had opened it already. To do, and then, you know, eventually we, you know, start feeling, start rubbing. How that song go, you know, actually I don't know how the song go, but just know that somebody started feeling somewhere, and then some things were given. You know what I'm saying? Mouths were put on places. And then, yeah, we didn't really like, there was no like penetration on either side, but like,
It's just licking and blowing and blowing and licking for about 10 years. And I'm good at it too.
Okay.
we definitely did a lot of tossing and turning, I will say that. But yeah, there was no penetration on either side of that, with that night or anything. So yeah, we just did what we had to do. And because he claimed that that was the first time he ever did anything like that with like a boy. But I was like, I don't know, you are a little experienced, but you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna assume. I'm gonna just take his word for it. But yeah, that's pretty much how that went down that night. So the next day we didn't have school. It's the weekend. So I had text and I was like, good morning or whatever. Cause like I say, at this time we're starting like to develop this like relationship, situationship or whatever. So I had text and I was like, good morning, I didn't want to get too comfortable, because like I said, I know how DLs are. Like they'll, do what they want to do with you. Then the next day, you're booted, right? So I ain't want to, get too attached. But I am texting like good morning or whatever. He was like, he texts back and he was like, good morning or whatever, blah blah blah. He was like, about last night. And I was like, don't start with me. You know what we did last night, and anything and whatever. I'm like, you know what we did last night. So I didn't want to get into all that. But he was like, you want to come over again tonight? And I was like, again tonight? 2 nights in a row? I was like, oh wow.
Oh, okay. Whatever that means.
You're a wild one. Yeah, so I mean, I didn't have anything to do that night. So I was like, hey, why not? So I did end up going over there again that night. And you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of yeah, it was a lot of that. It was a whole lot of that. And like I said, me and him, he wasn't really big on like penetration and all that stuff, like actually like, doing the do and like, penetrating. I already told him that I wasn't into all that. And he was like, I understand, I ain't really, here for all that either. He just wanted like head, and that was it. And that's pretty much how that meeting, like the next few meetings after that, that's pretty much how the next few meetings after that went.
You gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
Fellatio, a little smooch, kiss here, a little rub feel, and we went home, right? Well, I went home, right? So that's pretty much how that happened, right? So I want to say maybe 3 months into this endeavor, mind you, me and him are still like talking on a daily basis. We're still chit-chatting, still like linking up and all this stuff. And like, I'm thinking, like, it sounds delusional, but I was really thinking that, we were starting to develop like an actual, relationship or whatever.
Not around here, partner. Not around here. Not around here.
Right? So one day we're at school, and I hear like a group of girls talking, and they were talking about how one of them talks to this boy. So me being my nosy ass, I'm over here listening, trying to figure out who the boy is, because I'm just nosy like that. So I'm like listening, trying to figure out who the boy is, and they're describing Alex. So I'm like, oh, this is odd. And she was like, oh, she been talking to him for like 6 months now. And I was like, 6 months? But me and him but 6, how does that?
2 plus 2 equals 6. And let me tell you why it equals 6. Because look at this. There are 2 2's. So therefore, there is an additional 2 that no one talks about because the government, look at.
Okay, so right now, at this moment, my whole mood is blowed. My whole day is ruined because the person like I said, it sounds so dumb, and I don't know why I didn't learn the first 2 times. But yeah, I would definitely say that I was definitely pissed because like I don't know, I feel like I'm just such a hopeless romantic, and I just get so blinded so quickly by the thought of like being in a relationship. So I thought me and him actually were like developing like, you know, real genuine like feelings for each other. So um me personally, I'm one that I don't just like, I'm not just gonna act a certain way and make you think that I feel this way. No, I'm gonna address a situation when I feel something. So I had texted him, I was like, you know, do you have a girlfriend or whatever? Are you talking to like somebody else? And he was like, what you mean? And as soon as he said that, I knew immediately. I was like, oh yeah, this nigga has a girlfriend. And I don't know why I never thought to like ask that in the beginning, because I'm like, I don't even, one thing about me, if I find out that you already talking to somebody else or like you have a girlfriend, I don't even want you no more because you're clearly somebody else's, and that's not my cup of tea to be dipping into other people's cups of tea, right?
Clock that T. Clock it. Clock that T. Clock it. Clock that T.
So he tell me like, what you mean? I was like, I heard this girl, she was talking like she was describing like this boy she talked to, and it sounded like you. And he was like, what's her name? And again, another sign, you have a girlfriend, because why you want to know her name? If you didn't have a girlfriend, you could have just said, no, I don't have a girlfriend, or no, I'm not talking to nobody. So I was like, you know, I'm not gonna play these games with you. I don't got time, you know what I'm saying? You have a girlfriend, you need to leave me alone, because I'm not into, you know, all that cheating and shit. So, you know what I'm saying, you can keep that for you. I love that for you. But me personally, I don't want no dealings in that, right? So I tell him like, you know, I'm done, so no more link ups, no more FaceTimes, no more texting me, no, none of that. Right? And he was like, oh, you tripping, you know what I'm saying? Me and her, we don't even talk for real, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, y'all, she say I've been talking for 6 months. And he's like, oh, we just been, you know, on and off talking for 6 months. Girl, I've been talking to you for 3. Y'all ain't been on and off that much. Ain't that much on and off in the world. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, you tripping, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, nah, you tripping, because, you know what I'm saying? If you have a girl, I never understood the philosophy behind them having girlfriends but wanting to still do stuff with niggas. I just never understood that. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? If you want a nigga, just go get a nigga. What's the point of it? What's the point of the girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? And they like use them as a cover up. But like, you don't even have to use them as a cover up. Just like, I don't understand it. I would never understand it, maybe because, you know what I'm saying, I never had that phase in my life. I never had a deal. Well, my deal phase was never like that. I never used a girl to like, well, anyways, that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I just never understood that like philosophy or whatever. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, you got a girlfriend, you talking to somebody else. I don't want to be a part of that, right? Because I don't want to fall in the middle of none of that drama, right? So I said, just leave me out of it. So he stopped texting, I stopped texting, and we like low-key stopped texting. We like go no contact for like, I want to say maybe like a week or 2, right? And then he ends up texting me again on Snapchat one day, and he was like, do you want to FaceTime tonight? I'm like, nigga, what? We just talked about this 2 weeks ago that you had a girlfriend. I didn't want to deal with you no more. Now you're texting me on Snapchat, asking me do I want to FaceTime? Now, I know I'm going to sound wrong when I say this. I know I'm going to sound like the villain. And I'm older now. I'm more mature. I accept the fact that I was in the wrong. But I just, like, I remember, and like, you know, when it be late in the midnight hour, and you are all alone in your room in heat, sometimes you don't be thinking with your brain most of the time. Most of the time, you're thinking with, your buddy down there. You're not really thinking with your mind. So when he asked that, I was like, yeah, whatever, but you know what I'm saying? We ain't doing none of that freaky stuff. Knowing the whole time that I was definitely gonna be doing some of that freaky stuff. Anyways, so he calls me, we get to talking, and I was like, why didn't you just tell me that you had a girlfriend or whatever? And he was like, cause like we weren't like seriously locked in or anything, or blah 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 blah. A bunch of bullshit I should never believed, but I ended up believing it because I was horny. I'm just be honest. I was horny, so I didn't really give a fuck for real. So I was just like, okay, true, whatever. So he had asked to, see some things, and I was like, no, because like I said, I'm still mad that you lied about, basically being single and not talking to nobody when you were talking to somebody the entire time that I first, started conversing with you. So he was like, me and her, we ain't even in a lot like that. We wouldn't even talk for real no more. I told her like I ain't want to be with her and all that stuff and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, I don't believe it, but just for the night. After this night, I didn't tell him this, but I'm like, this one thing in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna believe it for the night, but like I know this nigga lying, but I need to get my rocks off, so I'm gonna believe it for tonight. But that's besides the point. So we end up, doing what we do on FaceTime, and yeah, we actually didn't. Well, the process of what we were doing, we didn't finish because he was like, you want to come over tonight, and I was like, shit, damn. Yeah, I'm gonna come over. So I ended up going over, and y'all, I ain't gonna lie, that was I don't know, y'all ever hear like when people be like, they be like, makeup relations, they're like the best relations. They're not lying. They are not lying. They don't lie at all. Those are pretty much like the best relations ever, especially like when you're mad at somebody, y'all make up like that. I don't know, top 10 moments of a person's life, I just gotta say. But anyways, that night was one to remember, and honestly, I don't know, that night just kind of like made me forget everything that happened 2 weeks prior. So we started back talking and everything, and I started back going over his house and visiting and everything, blah blah blah, going through the motions. And yeah, everything is like going pretty good. So one night, again, I'm getting ready to go over there, right? So he was like, come on over. Like, he's like, my mom not here, so come on over, you know what I'm saying? Come visit. It's just me and my sister here. And my sister, she stay in her room or whatever. So I was like, okay, true. So I go over there. I make it to the back door, and I'm sitting waiting on him. So mind you, his gate, you can like, the way his gate in, it's not one of those metal gates that you can like, I'm describing a lot about his house. Basically, his gate, it's not like, you can't see the driveway. You can see the driveway, but they can't really see you if you're in the back door, right? But you can see if somebody pulls up because you're gonna see the light, like, shine through, right? So I'm like, I'm standing back there waiting for him, and all of a sudden, I see like this light pull into their driveway. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I started texting him. I'm like, is somebody pulling in your driveway? And he's not responding. So I'm getting scared. I'm like, oh my God, what if they come back here and see this random little punk standing back here in, a bonnet, a wife beater, and some pajama pants and some Crocs. And I'm just like, oh my, what am I gonna do if they come back here and see me back here? So I get to like panicking, and I'm like hyperventilating. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I text him. I'm like, yo, hurry up and respond back. There's somebody in your driveway. He starts texting. He like, oh dang, that's my mom. I'm like, I thought you said your mom was like not coming home tonight, and he was like, she must have got off early or something, or coming to get something. I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just sit back here? And he like, I'm finna come, but you have to run to my room. I'm like, oh my God, but like, and in my mind, I'm thinking of every single scenario that could possibly go wrong in my head. I'm like, what if you let me in and your mom walks in as I'm coming in? Because in his house, the front door, you have the front door and the back door. You can't miss each other. You know what I'm saying? They like right, they facing each other, right? So I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, I'm nervous, child. I'm nervous. I'm like, what if your mom like walking in the door as I'm walking in, and then that's just a whole awkward thing right there. And I'm just like, what if she like come in your room, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So he's like, she not gonna walk in the same time. You just gotta hurry up. It's like, okay. So he opened the door, bitch. I zoom. When I tell you I zoom to his room. I was damn near the Flash. I ran like I had never ran before. I did not waste no time. I got up out of there. I was not playing no games whatsoever. So I did the dash to his room, and like I went and I like hid in his closet. He didn't tell me to do that, but I just did it anyway because I was not having no chances. So then his mom walks in. He up there talking to his mom. I'm here hiding in his closet, and I'm just like, oh Lord Jesus. I'm like, what is my life come to? So he was up there talking to his mom for a good 20 minutes. I'm just sitting here in the closet on my phone scrolling on social media, and I'm just like, what is like? Oh, my bad. My camera just did something. But yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, what is life right now? So I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Because he's up there talking to his mama. I don't know how long he's gonna be up there talking to his mama. So like I said, he up there for a good 20, 25 minutes talking to her. And eventually he comes back in there, and I guess he looking for me. He's like, where you at? And I had like peeked my head out the closet, and he was like, oh, she gone. I'm like, oh my God. That was like, why would you put me through that? Like, oh my gosh. But anyways, after his mom left, like I said, his sister was in the room. I think she was asleep, honestly. Every time I came over there, his sister was like, her door is closed, and she just does not bother him. So I'm like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They ain't know my business. So we get in there, we start doing what we doing, and girl, it was like, I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't the best because like I'm still paranoid that like his mama was just gonna walk back in his house, walk in here and see us like, you know, doing what we're doing. So that's pretty much like where my nerves lie the entire time. But yeah, that was like, that was scary. That was really, really scary. Of course, after that, no, we did what we did. We finished, and I went home. And he actually FaceTimed me because he usually after like I go to his house, he would just go to sleep, and I would just be like, you know, do whatever I do for the rest of the night. But when I got back home, he like FaceTimed me. We talked a little bit, and like it was real like cute and sweet, and it was low key like, I don't know, like with Christian and you know, what was the other one name? I forgot what the other one name was, but yeah, with those other two, like, you know, I was close to them. I did develop good relationships with those two. But I don't know, like me and Alex, we were like, I don't know, our relationship was, it was just, I don't know, it was a little more, it felt a lot more genuine. Not saying that the other two didn't feel, I ain't gonna lie, the one with Christian, it didn't feel that genuine. It didn't feel all that genuine. It was like a lot, it was a roller coaster. But like with the other one, with the last one I talked about in the last video, that one felt pretty genuine too. But like, I don't know. It's like it was like I was seeing a side of him that he didn't really let a lot of other people see. And I felt so honored that, you know, he let me see like this side of him. So, like I said, you know, I'm starting to like, oh my God. But yeah, like I'm starting to develop these really strong feelings for him. And that is, I already had feelings for him in the beginning, but like these are even like they're like actual, like, you know, I think I actually like want to try to, you know, be with you, even though I know like that was a dumb thing to think because this man is literally DL. But that's besides the point. Like he really started to like open up and show me like the softer side of him, and you know he started to be more open and emotional and everything. And I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. And I like that about you. I like a man that can be open and emotional and be real with his feelings, right? So I was like, oh, yeah, this is nice. So eventually one day, I was like texting him one day, and I was like, you know, would you ever actually like date or like actually like a committed relationship with another boy? And he was like, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, my folks don't really know nothing about, you know, me and my sexuality and everything, and like, you know, my boys, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know, all that other stuff, you know what I'm saying? But he was like, yeah, you know, my folks don't really know about that, and, you know, I don't really want nobody to find out, because I ain't gonna lie, like, the entire time me and him talked, he wasn't, like, extremely paranoid, but he was very, like, he had his guard up all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he seen me talking to my friends or something, he would think I'm telling them about us, and I'm like, that's not the case. Because I ain't gonna lie, I used to tell my friends, like only like a few of them, because a few of them you can't tell. A few of my friends, they can't hold water, right? But like one or two of my friends, I would tell, because I have to tell somebody, I'm sorry. But like him, I actually did not tell anybody about him. And to this day, no one still knows about him. Not even my best friends know about this one. They know that, you know, I was dealing with somebody, but they don't know who the boy is. And I don't think I would ever reveal who the boy is, because me and him did develop a really close relationship. He told me a lot of things, and I just would never, you know, disrespect him like that. Even though, you know, and in the end, things between me and him didn't end up, you know, working out due to basically, you know, he actually did end up getting a girlfriend, and he ended up getting really committed to her. And mine, because he had a girlfriend, he ended up talking to his girl, and he got really like into it with her. He got really like into it with her. So I didn't want to interfere with that, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's still like a DL or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying, I don't agree with the lifestyle, but I respect the lifestyle, because I understand, you know, some people, they don't choose to be DL, they have to be DL. So yeah, I wasn't too mad at him. I was like, you know, I was a little sad, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was so genuine and so kind and so nice. I really liked him. He was like one of the only DL niggas I ever messed with that was I actually got like genuine feelings from. And even when he told me he had a girlfriend, he didn't lie about it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like, you know, try to hide it like he did last time. He actually like told me, he was like, hey, I'm starting to talk to this girl. We're starting to get real serious, and I don't want, you know, what's between us to interfere. And he's like, you know, I still care about you and everything. And I was like, oh my God, you care about me? I was like, oh my God, you care about me? And you know, I ain't even get into all that emotional stuff. But yeah, it was pretty nice. So yeah, that's pretty much, you know, that's pretty much how things between me and him ended. And me and him, we still, I'm not gonna say we still like talk. We don't like talk like every day. We're just like the good friends. But we are friends. We still talk every now and then, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We still communicate, catch up every now and then. Nothing like, you know, we don't catch up like romantically or like reminisce on the past. We just catch up like, you know, graduation and everything in school, you know, checking out, see how each other doing, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much, you know, the entire shebangle with me and Alex. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, I don't think any of my other experiences with DL men were as bad as they were with Christian. Christian, he was a case study. I don't know, something is really off about him. Something is, but you know, hey. But yeah, Alex is pretty cool. Alex, if you're watching this, you know. And by the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope y'all know I do be, when I give like these story times or whatever, I don't just get on here unprovoked, you know, just telling our business, right? I ask them first if I can do this. And when they give me the green light, that's when I, you know, make the video. And like I said, I tried to hide as many details about them as possible so nobody can try to like figure out who they are. But yeah, that was my time with Alex. Yeah, I think that's it for today's video. If you guys want to hear, you know, I have some more in the vault for y'all if y'all want to hear them. I think I will like turn this into like a little series, you know what I'm saying? My DL story times. You know, just giving y'all a little insight about the experiences I've had. Yeah, you know, just let y'all know, you know, what I've experienced. Hopefully y'all can learn from my mistakes and learn, you know, what not to do. But yeah, I think that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, turn on those notifications so that you are notified any and every time I upload a new video. And like I said, follow me on all my socials. And like I said, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we just going up from here, y'all. We at 1K. Next month will be 2K, 3K, 4K, 10K. We gonna keep going. We gonna keep climbing, right? But yeah. Also, I need to mention this. Make sure y'all follow my TikTok. I want to get more active on TikTok because I started posting on TikTok, but TikTok is so like wishy-washy with like their algorithm, whatever. Like you have to like constantly post on TikTok. So I'm trying to get more active on there. I'm gonna try to get more active on there. No promises or anything, but definitely go follow the TikTok. And yeah, I think that's all for today's video. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.
Trust in me. I can't, you said I can't trust in you.
Okay, I need a thumbnail.